Hello and welcome to quiz class. Today we have 100 questions on general knowledge. Let's begin with question number 1. Which spice is not a bright yellow color? Sumac, turmeric, or saffron? The answer is sumac. Which is the second hardest mineral? Diamond, topaz, or corundum? Corundum. Question 3. What color dragon is associated with Vietnam? Red, yellow, or blue? Blue. Question 4. What does the Pillsbury Doughboy do when his stomach is poked? He giggles, he grimaces, or he grunts? He giggles. What business practice involves relocating jobs from a high-cost location to a lower-cost location? Offshoring, offshooting, or officing? Offshoring. Which drink was originally Brad's when it was founded in 1898? Pepsi, Coca-Cola, or Dr. Pepper? Pepsi. What animation technique involves photographing successive drawings to create the illusion of movement? Sketch motion, skip motion, or stop motion? Stop motion. What shape is part of the Sydney Opera House? Sail, sword, or skillet? Sail. Which company introduced the electric starter automotive innovation in 1912? Ford, Cadillac, or Lincoln? Cadillac. What type of novel is a Bildungsroman? Coming of age, romantic comedy, or heroic redemption? Coming of age. How are sesame seeds harvested? From a pod, from the ground, or from a flower? From a pod. What was the name of the first mass market Kodak camera introduced in 1900? Brownie, Chippy, or Jelly? Brownie. Who was the only United States president born outside the contiguous 48 states? Joe Biden, Bill Clinton, or Barack Obama? Barack Obama. Emil von Behring was awarded the first Nobel Prize in Medicine in 1901 for studies of what illness? Tuberculosis, diphtheria, or tetanus? Diphtheria. What protest march against poverty happened in England in 1936? Jarrow, Marrow, or Yarrow? Jarrow. Between which two points was the first transatlantic wireless signal in 1901? England to Newfoundland, Ireland to Nova Scotia, or Scotland to Maine? England to Newfoundland. Which horse became a national hero during the 1930s in the United States? Man o' War, Phar Lap, or Seabiscuit? Seabiscuit. The Zimmerwald movement gained a following during which war? World War I, World War II, or the Vietnam War? World War I. Diplomat George F. Kennan was famous for the 1946 long what? Telegram, call, or paper? Telegram. We are at question 20. What kind of space were the Dead Sea Scrolls discovered in? Caves, a shipwreck, or a mausoleum? Caves. What financial scandal in the early 2000s led to the bankruptcy of Enron Corporation? Market crash, accounting fraud, or employee theft? Accounting fraud. What World War II campaign was the 1944 Battle of Kohima? Burma, Singapore, or Malaysia? Burma. Which television Doctor Who was William Hartnell in the 1960s? The first, the second, or the third? The first. What was the Astro the first version of in the 1960s? A beanbag, a lava lamp, or waterbed? A lava lamp. Which team did not play in the first 1903 Baseball World Series? The Pittsburgh Pirates, the Chicago Cubs, or the Boston Americans, otherwise Red Sox? The Chicago Cubs. Martin Cooper was part of what company when he made the first handheld cellular phone call in 1973? Nokia, Samsung, or Motorola? Motorola. Which historic event coincided with what is now considered the first photobomb? The assassination of John F. Kennedy, the man landing on the moon, or the building of the Berlin Wall? The assassination of John F. Kennedy. What is the main development leading to e-commerce? The internet, smartphones, or Wi-Fi? The internet. Which country experienced mass violence and killings following an attempted coup from 1965 to 1966? Indonesia, Brunei, or Australia? Indonesia. What technique used by artists in the 20th century involves applying paint thickly to create texture on the canvas? Encroaco, impasto, or orvato? Impasto. Which term was coined in 1963 to describe the fans' intense frenzy for the Beatles? Beatlephoria, Beatlesanxiety, or Beatlemania? Beatlemania. What marketing phenomenon is linked to the release of Jaws in 1975? Summer blockbuster, family movie, or dumb action? Summer blockbuster. Which Roman Catholic Pope was elected in 1978? Pope John Paul I, Pope John Paul II, or Pope John Paul III? Pope John Paul II. What was the first commercially released Technicolor cartoon released in 1932? Flowers and Bees, Flowers and Seas, or Flowers and Trees? Flowers and Trees. In which UK city did J.K. Rowling write much of the Harry Potter series? Cardiff, Edinburgh, or London? Edinburgh. Which fast food chain started as a small restaurant called Pete's Super Submarines in 1965? Le Pain Quotidien, Pret a Manger, or Subway? Subway. What 1990s planetary discovery expanded our understanding of planetary systems beyond our own? Celestial planets, exoplanets, or lunar planets? Exoplanets. What religion was Indian lawyer, politician, and pacifist Mahatma Gandhi? Hindu, Buddhist, or Sikh? Hindu. Which 1944 conference established the International Monetary Fund and the World Bank? Bretton Woods, Bretton Moores, or Bretton Parks? Bretton Woods. During which decade were mobile phones first widely available for purchase? The 1980s, the 1990s, or the 2000s? The 1990s. What area of economic policymaking was British Prime Minister Margaret Thatcher known for? Progressive, centrist, or conservative? Conservative. Which media mogul reshaped global media in the 1980s and 1990s? Donald Trump, Michael Bloomberg, or Rupert Murdoch? Rupert Murdoch. What were the world's tallest buildings in 1998? The Twin Towers, Petronas Towers, or the Burj Khalifa? The Petronas Towers. During which war was the Voice of America broadcast? World War II, the Korean War, or the Vietnam War? World War II. What type of production was introduced at Ford in 1913? Factory line, motor line, or assembly line? Assembly line. When does a Dalmatian generally develop its spots? During gestation, immediately after birth, or around 10 days after birth? Around 10 days after birth. What meat is not traditionally used for ramen stock? Pork, beef, or chicken? Beef. Where did mass advertising predominantly happen in the 1920s? Newspapers, billboards, or radio? Radio. What was climate change called in the 1980s? Global warming, acid rain, or the greenhouse effect? The greenhouse effect. And we are at question 50. Which car company presented the first seatbelts in the 1950s? Volvo, Audi, or Peugeot? Volvo. Starting in the 1980s, what type of novels was Art Spiegelman famous for? Literary fiction, graphic novel, or steampunk? Graphic novel. How many days was a major war in 1967 in the Middle East? 6 days, 7 days, or 8 days? Six days. What type of urban art was brought to mainstream recognition in the 1970s and 1980s? Street art, third wave, or protest? Street art. What professional typically uses mise en place? Sculptor, a chef, or a transcriber? A chef. In which U.S. state were 6 people killed by Japanese balloon bombs in 1945? Oregon, Washington, or California? Oregon. In which city were the United Nations headquarters in 1952? Geneva, New York City, or Kyoto? New York City. Why was the Federal Reserve System created as a central banking system in 1913? To unify all U.S. states economically, to strengthen the U.S. dollar globally, or to stabilize the U.S. economy? To stabilize the U.S. economy. How many hours was CNN when it launched in 1980? 12, 18, or 24? 24. What socioeconomic trend in the 1990s led to significant outsourcing of manufacturing jobs to developing countries? Urbanization, globalization, or collectivization? Globalization. What beverage was created in 1927? Kool-Aid, Cool Time, or Kool-Rite? Kool-Aid. What car segment wasn't created by the release of the Ford Mustang in 1964? Muscle, Golden, or Pony? Golden. What type of surgery was introduced in the 1980s? Endoscopy, laser, or laparoscopy? Laparoscopy. How long can honey be stored? For eternity, for 1 year, or for 1 month? For eternity. What location and navigation system was introduced in the 1990s? Global Positioning System, Digital Compass, or Cellular Coordination? Global Positioning System. Which Mediterranean city does not host an annual film festival? Porto, Cannes, or Venice? Porto. What type of television became popular in the late 20th century as a new genre of unscripted entertainment? Reality, impromptu, or slapstick? Reality. What type of car engine introduced in the 20th century uses rotary motion instead of traditional piston movement? Wankel engine, Frankel engine, or carbuncle engine? Wankel engine. What type of political influence was conceptualized by political scientist Joseph Nye? Dependency, soft power, or camaraderie diplomacy? Soft power. After publishing The Satanic Verses in 1988, author Salman Rushdie drew the ire of clerics from what religion? Judaism, Christianity, or Islam? Islam. What non-pizza menu item was added to National Domino's pizza menus in 1992? Breadsticks, wings, or arancini? Breadsticks. What is a feature of the new urbanism architecture concept that gained traction in the 80s and 90s? Small retail centers, walkable mixed-use communities, or private parks for residents? Walkable mixed-use communities. Which is the largest wasp? Tarantula hawk, murder hornet, or yellow jackets? Murder hornets. What oil is promoted in the Mediterranean diet? Coconut, sunflower, or olive? Olive. Which U.S. city is considered to be the home of Motown? Detroit, Denver, or Chicago? Detroit. What region of Spain is the Bilbao Guggenheim Museum based in? Andalusia, Galicia, or Basque? Basque. What concept was popularized by economist Milton Friedman in the 1970s? Shareholder value, storeholder value, or social holder value? Shareholder value. Which city had a 63-day uprising in 1944 against the Nazi occupation? Warsaw is the answer. Which breed is not typically used as a guide dog? German Shepherd, Golden Retriever, or Alaskan Malamute? The Alaskan Malamute. Which company merged with Time Incorporated in 1989? 20th Century Fox, Miramax, or Warner Communications? Warner Communications. What personal account of the events of World War II was first published in 1947? The Diary of Anne Frank, The Poetry of Anne Frank, or The Manifesto of Anne Frank? The Diary of Anne Frank. In what industry is fly-by-wire technology used? Irrigation, automotive, or aviation? Aviation. In what decade was swing music most popular? The 1930s, the 1940s, or the 1950s? The 1930s. During the 1987 Black Monday stock market crash, what did the Dow Jones Industrial Average fall by in a single day? 12%, 22%, or 32%? 22%. In which creative field is the Kuleshov effect used? Film, literature, or choreography? Film. Which spending craze picked up in the 1960s? Coupons, fast fashion, or credit cards? Credit cards. What does Samuel Huntington's clash of civilizations theory propose won't be a driving factor in future conflicts? Economics, culture, or religious differences? Economics. What act was not part of the 1980s heavy metal subgenre scene? Nirvana, Metallica, or Slayer? Nirvana. What is the full title of the 1915 propaganda and storytelling film The Birth of a Boy, Family, or Nation? Nation. What did the 1980s Soviet-Afghan War contribute to the collapse of? Ronald Reagan's presidency, the U.S. economy, or the Soviet Union? The Soviet Union. And we are at question 90. What scientific theory revealed the underlying order in seemingly random systems? Agency theory, chaos theory, or Jeopardy theory? Chaos theory. What shoe brand was famously worn in Back to the Future Part 2? Fila, Nike, or Reebok? Nike. What was the 1994 NAFTA treaty designed to increase? Trade, diplomacy, or innovation? Trade. What type of music movement was led by composers Philip Glass and Steve Reich? Minimalist, punk, or reggae? Minimalist. What bubble created massive growth and collapse in the late 1990s? .com, silicone, or www? .com. What dish drove the growth of Japanese cuisine in the US in the late 80s and 90s? Sushi, okonomiyaki, or tonkatsu? Sushi. What industry wasn't impacted by genetically modified organisms in the 1990s? Construction, agriculture, or medicine? Construction. What type of building practices increased in the 1990s? Clean, Spartan, or green? Green. What did the 1990s Revolution in Military Affairs concept promote? Stealth equipment, information technology, or heat sensors? Information technology. Which writer's work features the dystopia of Gilead? Margaret Atwood, Virginia Woolf, or Nora Ephron? Margaret Atwood. We are at question 100. Which director is not part of the 1990s independent cinema new wave? The Coen brothers, Quentin Tarantino, or Christopher Nolan? Christopher Nolan. And for our bonus question, what type of eagle is the U.S. national bird? Let us know the answer in the comments and, of course, how well you did. Thanks for playing this quiz. Don't forget to subscribe, and we will see you in our next one. Bye-bye.